I'm finding more and more ways to make things that I already have to do to take care of myself and include the people that I want to connect with. And I get to like kill two birds with one stone and help make them healthier.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive State Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. V, triple board certified MD and performance and longevity expert. And today I welcome such a beautiful soul into the podcast, somebody who's taken his dream of creating a magical wonderland of wellness into reality. You'll find out more about his story and this beautiful place he created coming up in just a second. But if this is your first time listening to the Thrive State Podcast, welcome in. This is a place where I bring in world thought leaders and experts in wellness, longevity, peak performance, and how to take your life and your health to the next level. If you haven't already, find out a little bit more about how to get into the Thrive State by getting a copy of the second edition of my book at thrivestatebook.com. And if you're new to the longevity and performance space and you just want to get started, let me give you a free gift. I have bundled together a free ebook, chapters of my book, breathwork exercises, and resources for you to really start taking the very first steps into creating a new version of yourself. You can get all those things for free at thrivestatestarter.com. And if you're returning to this podcast, if this podcast has given you value, please do us a favor by helping the show grow, by sharing it with your friends and family members, and leaving a 5-star review wherever podcasts are heard. Now on to today's podcast. My guest today is the visionary founder and CEO of Remedy Place, a revolutionary social wellness club with establishments in New York and Los Angeles, and plans to create a global footprint with brick-and-mortar locations spanning across North America and beyond. His name, Dr. Jonathan Leary. He is a true trailblazer in modern wellness and self-care. He actually seamlessly transitioned his clinical practice as a world-renowned concierge wellness doctor into an unprecedented launch of Remedy Place. At the intersection of design, self-care, and human connection, Dr. Leary and Remedy Place are architecting a profound shift in the landscape of a over $10 trillion healthcare industry. Responding to a surge in demand from the market poised for exponential growth, Remedy Place has launched a global events division and introduced a collection of holistic technologies, ushering in a dynamic new era of self-care. Beyond his leadership at Remedy Place, Dr. Leary is a sought-after speaker in the health and wellness arena. His practice and expertise has been featured in top media outlets from Vogue to the New York Times, alongside a range of corporate advisories and appearances, including Delta Airlines, Cannes Film Festival, and the Global Wellness Summit. Dr. Leary continues to innovate and inspire with an unwavering commitment to transforming lives and shaping industries. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the visionary of Remedy Place, Dr. Jonathan Leary. Dr. Jonathan Leary, welcome to the Thrive State Podcast, brother.
Thank you so much for having me.
Your name, as well as the brand that you built, Remedy Place, has been in my sphere of attention for a while now, so I'm so glad to connect.
Yeah, I'm so honored to be here, and thank you for having me.
My audience knows about a part of the show called the 5 to Thrive, and in it, there's a prize involved where I get to buy a nutritious meal for the winner. And since we are actually in the same city, we're probably going to be able to make this happen pretty soon. I have an inkling that you are going to win the 5 to Thrive, but you've got to play first. So my question to you, Dr. Jonathan Leary, are you ready to play the 5 to Thrive?
I am.
Question number 1. Here is 2024. If you had one word or theme to create what you want to manifest in 2024, what would that be?
Change.
Change. All right. Change is good. Question number 2 is, as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Doctor.
Question number 3. If I put you on stage with 50,000 people, handed you a mic and had you sing a karaoke song, which song would that be?
Oh man, there's no way in hell that I would ever sing on stage. That would be the only time I would run off stage if I had to sing.
If you had to, And then if I were to be able to help you, what song would you choose for us to do together?
Oh my God. Maybe an Adele song.
Oh, wow, that is tough. Well, we'll probably need a third person to help us. But Adele, 3,000 points thus far. Question number 4 is, in your life, was there a quote, a book, or an insight at any time in your life where once you knew that, you couldn't unsee it and the future was forever changed?
Track, don't chase.
Ah, all right. 4,000 points. And for the last 1,000 points, how does Dr. Jonathan Leary want to be remembered?
I want to leave a legacy to show people, how to take care of themselves and change the current state of our health in the world.
That's beautiful. Hey, thank you for joining the Thrive State podcast. We had a couple of minutes right before we went on, and I got to say that just talking to you, there is a sense of sincerity and genuine desire to help people, and I can't wait to dive in a little bit more into your story and then really talk about this concept of social wellness that you've branded so well, and I can't wait to experience in real life myself. But you started off as a chiropractor. Why did you choose the field of chiropractic, and how did you start to transform doing concierge work into designing a place like Remedy Place?
Yeah, so I was going the traditional medical route, did pre-med. My mom and my sister both worked in hospital settings, and when doing pre-med, you have to put in all the volunteer hours and shadow, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital setting and just realized maybe that wasn't the environment that I wanted to work in. And then it wasn't really just the vision of how I thought I wanted to help people. But I grew up in a small town in Rhode Island, and I was not exposed to anything alternative or holistic. And it was just very traditional healthcare. And at the time, I went into my junior year of undergrad, and I'm like, is this actually what I want to do? Like, doctors were so unhealthy. They weren't sleeping. They were away from their families. They were working late hours. And I was like, not only does that lifestyle not sound great, but then also the patients weren't really happy. And I kind of had like a midlife crisis of like, wait, I just put in all this work. I'm applying to med schools. Like, what am I doing? And one of my friend's dad was a chiropractor, but in the state of Rhode Island, like, chiropractors just teamed up with lawyers, and it was like, got an accident, you get adjusted. And I remember being like, that is not what I want to do. I never went to a chiropractor, but that was the perception of what I had. And he's like, hey, like, I know you want to move to LA, and in California, a chiropractor is actually your primary care physician, and you can treat and diagnose anything in your scope. You just can't prescribe meds or puncture the skin. And at the time, I was a personal trainer, and I was helping like as a nutritionist. And I was like, oh, like, that's interesting. And I reached out to a school in California, and I was like, hey, like, I'm going the traditional medical route. Like, what do I need to be able to apply to a chiropractic school? I hit it off with the woman at admissions, and then I kind of like, I forgot about it. I was like, I'm going to take a year off. I don't know what I want to do. And then the school reached out to me in like February or March, and they're like, hey, like, she's like, why didn't you apply? Like, I was really excited for your application. I was like, this is weird. Like, when does the school ever reach out to you? I just thought it was a weird sign. So I was like, is it too late? And they let me put in a late application. 6 weeks later, I had an interview. And then that summer, I moved to LA fully on a whim. I was like, you know what? Like, I was going to take a year off anyways. Like, well, what would an extra year of school be? And I never saw a chiropractor before I started my program. I just knew that, like, hey, I can treat and diagnose anything. I can figure out the way that I want to treat people. And that was, in my eyes, what I really wanted to do. And then throughout school, I really just learned about the power of alternative medicine. And I'm such a science-backed guy, and everything that I was told of like, there's no science behind X, Y, and Z. And then firsthand experiencing and seeing, I was like, no, like, there's a lot here, and this actually works. And then I knew that I didn't think I was going to be a chiropractor. I thought I would just have the scope, and I knew that I didn't want to work in a clinic. So when I started my doctorate, every Sunday I worked on the business plan for Remedy, because that was my original practice idea. And at first, it was really just a beautiful clinic that looked more like a lounge setting. And then when I graduated, I went to the bank. I had it was like a 158-page business plan, no background in business. I Googled how to do everything. And I remember the woman at the bank kind of laughed. She's like, sir, you have no money, and you have all the student loan debt. How am I supposed to give you a loan? And I'm like, that's why I need a loan. Yeah. And quickly found out that's not how it works. I pivoted. I opened up a concierge practice in sports medicine, focusing on a non-surgical, non-drug approach to surgery prevention or chronic pain rehabilitation. And after a couple months, I took on some really amazing patients with some like public success stories. And then I had a wait list 3 months in. And for 5 years, I got to just travel the world with cool people and cool families and save them from surgery. And like a year in, like my patients started to become my mentors. They were like the coolest industry leaders in so many different verticals and industries. And one of them was like, John, like, how are you going to change healthcare seeing one patient at a time? Like, you need to scale. And I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll just hire more doctors. And then no one wanted to see the other doctors. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll just educate. So I started doing like speaking engagements. And then it kind of just clicked in my head. I'm like, no, I have to bring back the business plan for Remedy. And for 5 years, I got to do my own clinical evidence and market research and really understand what worked, what didn't work, what were my patients willing to do, what were they not willing to do, what were their common lifestyle habits. And it was really powerful to be able to like not only learn from my patients from the business side, but also really truly understand what worked, how it worked, and what was the perfect implementation plan for like a normal like individual. And yeah, a little over 4 years ago, I was able to open the first club.
That is amazing. Congratulations. And all that from, this vision that brewed from the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
And you never gave up on it. I can't wait to set foot in it. But, describe to me for someone who's not walked in, what does one see when somebody opens the door and walks into Remedy Place? What is that community like and what's being offered there?
Yeah. So I always like to say we're the world's first social wellness club. We're not a gym. We're not a spa. We don't do aesthetics. We don't do beauty. We do self-care and we make it social. So when you walk in, it feels like a normal, traditional, like members club. There's a bar and a lounge, but with no alcohol. And then we don't call them treatments. We call them experiences. Every single experience you can do by yourself or you can do it with others. But we hope it's as a replacement of what you would normally do when you socialize. So we call them social substitutions. So like where you'd have a date, where you'd have a meeting, where you'd meet friends after work instead of having a drink, what you would do instead of a Sunday brunch, where you'd host an event, where you'd have your birthday. And it's really figuring out how we change the societal norms of how people come together and add in a self-care experience that, not only makes you feel better, but also helps build your relationships, especially in the time where people feel lonely and alone. And alcohol does not help that. And I think it's so ingrained in us of like these normal social habits. And I learned in my practice, the biggest thing over those 5 years, the number one complaint from my patients was, in order for me to take on a patient, I had to understand that they would make lifestyle changes because I can't make them healthy. It's my job to facilitate, teach them, guide them, and maybe speed things up. But if they're not willing to put in the work, my success rate and their success is not going to be achieved. And I had really amazing patients that put in the work and took it serious, but they would always say, Dr. Leary, I feel incredible or my issue's gone, but this lifestyle is really isolating. And they're like, everything I used to do when I socialized was filled with temptation or toxins. So I wanted to create a club that was temptation or toxin free that enhanced their health and their social life at the same time.
That is beautiful, my brother. I mean, this is a year where if I had, a couple of words to choose from, community is something that I definitely want to grow more of. I am a recent dad. I have a 3-year-old, and so I haven't been going out as much, but I realized that I missed that part of my life. And I realized, before there were only certain places you can go and certain things people do, and, that required potentially drinking or being in that particular setting. But community and camaraderie and that sense of belonging is so important. And if you could tack on additional things that you do as a group, that can really permeate into people taking that away when they walk out of that club. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, our 3 pillars of our company are self-care, human connection, and design to heal. And that's where like design to heal is creating an environment that aids in the healing process. The human connection part is the social wellness and community. And the self-care is the regular practice of preventative care and, what we need to do to feel better and continually feel better.
Where did you come up with that concept of social wellness? I mean, it's so obvious to me that is so important. But for you, did you find, was there like sort of this itch that like, hey man, there's no place I can go with my friends where, there are things that I really enjoyed doing that is good for me that I can go to?
Yeah.
Where did that concept come from?
I wish it was sounded more interesting, but I was a 22-year-old 12 years ago and looking up social clubs as my inspiration for design. And I just legitimately added wellness in between instead of it really being purposeful. Because like the social self-care and doing things together and the social substitutions, those were added into the business plan when I was in practice. But I was really just inspired and motivated by social clubs and making them wellness as the root. So not too interesting, but that was like the honest origin story. You know, I was young and still learning a lot at that time.
Well, shoot. I mean, at the age of 22, thinking about social clubs, you were, definitely advanced for your stage in life. Most 22-year-olds probably aren't thinking social club or at least combining wellness at that age. So props to you for being a pioneer there. So what are some of these experiences that people can go through? I know ice baths are some of them, but
Yeah.
let's talk to the experiences.
Yeah, so we're the first commercial place in the world to do a breathwork ice bath class. So you book into a workout class at Remedy, you book into a breathwork ice bath class, and everyone gets their own tub. That we don't do any ads or any traditional marketing but I think because our ice bath classes have been so viral on social media, most people know us because of our ice bath classes. We've actually have hundreds of millions of views online, which is insane. But we have everything from hyperbaric chambers, infrared sauna suites, cryotherapy, red light bed, your chiropractor, your acupuncturist, your IVs, your functional medicine, meditation classes, breathwork classes, sound bath classes. We do a thing called watch and drip where you can get an IV and watch a movie to, we have contrast suites, and there's a lot more coming.
Geez, this sounds like a wellness Disneyland, and I can't wait to come visit. So do you still practice clinically at this point?
No, the first year of opening Remedy, I tried to balance the two, and it was near impossible. And I think, just like I was saying earlier when my patients said, how are you going to change healthcare seeing one patient at a time? I think my mission is so big and it becoming more and more tangible that I really think we have a shot at doing it. As much as I miss, and I occasionally, when I mean occasionally, like it's becoming less and less, I miss it. And I love that. And to get like the initial, like, gratification of like instantly helping somebody and seeing it and feeling that emotion, I do miss that a lot. But it's hard for me to be on an investment call, doing a design, closing a lease, jump in with a patient, enter a partnership call. And for me, I found that I wasn't fully present with my patients. And I always pride myself on if I'm making time for something, I need to be fully present in that. And when you're dealing with people's health or someone that's really injured that really needs you, once I started realizing like, hey, like I'm worrying about that next call before like really thinking about this, it wasn't fair. Not that I thought my patients would ever know that, but the goal is like, there's also a lot of other incredible doctors and we can bring them in-house. And we have one amazing doctor that I was able to like just transition all my patients over to. And, like we're all here to help. But I think my purpose, I'm going to add a lot more value or like really have a bigger chance doing what I'm doing now instead of, seeing patients, although that I do miss it.
I do find, well, number one, every time you have that itch, I'm going to give you my cell phone number. And since I'm not that far away, you can scratch that itch by working on me, Dr. Leary. And the next thing is, wow, I got to say, for somebody who, just went through school without any experience, being able to get to where you are and being as entrepreneurial as you is amazing. And I really do believe that it is the entrepreneurs that are really going to change the world. So, what's happened now? You've got, I believe, 2 locations now, right?
Yeah, 2 locations, 2 more that will enter the world this year. And we'll do about 2 new clubs a year moving forward. We're working on the education side. So working on like the media hub, one huge partnership that we'll be releasing to the world probably by the summer. That is extremely exciting that I've been working on for about a year and a half, but it's a big project and a top tier collab, completely unexpected. And then it's going to make a lot of sense once people get what we're doing. But I could not be more excited. I just am not allowed to talk about it yet.
Oh, wow. I know. I could tell from the hesitation in your voice just how big it is, but keeping it like tight sealed. I was recently on the Squid Game reality show. We filmed in January, and like keeping that a secret, among people was tough, but I could just sense the same type of, this is going to be so big, but I can't talk about it right now, emanating.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. Believe me, I like to talk. And to hold something in and not talk about it is very hard. And this one is extremely hard. But I think
we'll have to have you back when you're ready to make that announcement, my friend.
done.
Now, on the Thrive State, on that 5 to Thrive game that we just mentioned, you mentioned change being a theme for the year. What type of change? I mean, I know you're growing, and it seems like you're growing, with 2 clubs a year and things like that. What change are you looking forward to implementing this year that is, making change the theme for yourself this year? I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. If you are, I just wanted to let you know, join our community. There's so many free resources and a great community of people that desire health, happiness, human potential, to have more in their life, more health, more energy. And when you have those 2 things together, you could create more happiness, more abundance, whether it be financial, romantic, all these things in your life. And if you're just starting out, you don't know where to go, just sign up for thrivestatestarter.com, because in there you're going to get a bundle of information that includes a longevity ebook, a longevity and performance resource guide, lecture notes that come from my keynotes at Google, at Fortune 500 companies, all the insights in that keynote in lecture slide form given to you. And then finally, breathwork. I share 3 powerful breathwork exercises to access calm, which really gives you clarity and peace during the day, to access energy if you need to wake up and really motivate yourself, and finally a breathwork routine that you could do every single morning so that you could be very intentional with how you create that day. You can find all this stuff delivered free to your inbox at thrivestatestarter.com. And our community is growing. If you want to be a part of a community of people that desire the Thrive State, that are really in Thrive State themselves, and help other people along with that, you could be a part of the community. You can get group coaching from me. We do breathwork sessions, meditation sessions, and you also get to drop in and participate in podcasts in the future. You could find more about the community at mythrivestate.com. That's mythrivestate.com. So check out those resources. You're not going to be disappointed, and please enjoy the remainder of this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for continual growth. I always say change is a result of being better than your environment, and I've never satisfied with my professional or personal growth. I think I have a lot to do. I have a lot to learn as as a first-time CEO, and I have like a health background, so I have to continually put myself in situations and be uncomfortable, but also love being uncomfortable and love being challenged, because the only way for me to learn is to continually change and elevate. And I think as the company grows, I need to be able to match the company. And there's a lot of work ahead. And if I'm not constantly changing and evolving, then I'm not going to be able to keep up. So I really look at all aspects of my life and what success looks like for me, and my happiness, my health, my work and remedy, and like everything is just rooted in health. And I even down to my program, it's constantly changing and evolving because it has to.
You mentioned something that's just so important, and you probably find this from Remedy Place members as well, that health is really this cornerstone of success in basically all areas of life. That if you don't have your health, I mean, for me, mental, physical, emotional, social, spiritual, they're all energetically connected. And if one thing's off, so is everything else. And if you bring the energy of stress and being beat down into your work or your relationships, that's going to fail. Have you found that people have been able to elevate all areas of life once they really start focusing on their own wellness?
100%. And I think a lot of the times we look at something that might go wrong, or looking at something that needs work. But for me, it's not about looking at, it's just like an athlete needs to perform and we need to be better. It's like, even if something is good, it can be better. And with your health, there's no limit. So if I know health is the root of success of every part, my relationships, my communities, all my conventional health stuff, to my happiness, I need to constantly be pushing that just so that I can keep changing and leveling up. That makes sense.
And that's so beautiful. So what does life look like for a CEO that is growing tremendously? What does the personal side look like for you at this moment?
Like because remedy is everything to me. Most people don't understand, so it's always like you need more balance or like, you need more personal life. You work too much, but legitimately, I feel like I'm at the perfect time in the world at the perfect place. And I have a once in a lifetime opportunity and I'm giving it 100% of what I got. And the only thing that is more important than that is my health. Because I think as the demand and the stress and the continual challenges occurs, that those are inevitable, I have to be able to handle it. And the only way to be able to handle more is to be healthier. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. It's like I have amazing people around me, amazing communities. I prioritize most of my social life around health. Like if I need to catch up with a friend, I'm doing social self-care. If I know I have to do my ice bath every day, like I can invite a friend to catch up during that. Or same thing with my sauna. And I think I'm finding more and more ways to make things that I already have to do to take care of myself and include the people that I want to connect with. And I get to like kill two birds with one stone and help make them healthier.
And this is what an awesome concept this is, to be able to, in the biohacking space, a lot of people say they like to stack their different biohacks, whether it be a meditation app, in a sauna and doing all these different things together. And we only have so much time during the day, but having a location where you have the self-care, you could stack the social aspects of connecting with different people in there so that it's really a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. In LA and New York, in New York, I legitimately live across the street and I live right above in LA. So like both clubs are like extensions of my home. So I just go there quick. It's so easy. And then even in my home in LA, like I'm converting my home to be more and more health focused so that I have the tools even at home to take care of myself.
That's amazing. So as a community, what can we do as the Thrive State community, my brand, do to help elevate whatever you're doing in the future? If somebody was listening to this, you've got a mission that's really, I feel, not only end chronic disease that we have, but really allow people to live up to their full potential as human beings. And so if there was somebody listening right now and you had an ask of whatever it is, what would that be? And, my audience and listeners could feel into that and reach out and provide that for you because you are in such a big mission.
Yeah, I would say look at the things that are challenging or hard and learn how to conquer them versus run away from them. And I think in a time where mental health is such a big issue, I think we're not training our minds to be strong. And I think we really just need to be more open-minded. I think a lot of the things in the self-care space I hear all the time, there's not enough science or not enough research. And I'm like, just go and do it, see how you feel and let that feeling speak for itself. Now I can see in my wearables, I know what happens when I go in the hyperbaric or the ice bath or the sauna or get adjusted or get a massage or acupuncture. Like my data doesn't lie. I think a lot of the times in this evolving industry, it's still like, we get a lot of beautiful articles, and at the end, it's like there's not enough science to back to like, make not. It's just like questioning credibility based on science, and it's sometimes I think as like big publications, it's our duty to like teach people how to like people don't feel good, show them ways they can feel good, and the science is coming and the research is coming. So I would just say take chances, try things. Most people don't feel good, and even if you feel good, you could feel better. And I think just with mental health being a big problem, I think we just need to start training the mind versus, stopping certain actions or not learning how to deal with certain actions. Because life is hard, but those hard moments and the struggles and the challenges are what makes you grow.
Yeah, so beautiful. Well, before I ask my last question, how do people find out more about Remedy Place and become a member and find out about all the beautiful work that you're doing?
Yeah. So all clubs are fully inclusive. You don't need to be a member to go. We do have the memberships there, but I would say follow along either on Remedy Place on social or my personal Dr. Jonathan Leary. We are going to be putting out more and more free education, and there's a big plan this year on how to do so. So although Remedy is a luxury service, we'll be going to be using this platform to give you the tools that you need and you don't need a remedy to get there.
That's beautiful. The last question to you is, with everything that you've seen, with all the modalities that you've used, what has been your best medicine?
I think, just to piggyback what I said, I think challenges and hardships and stress has made me the most resilient. And I really, truly think that it's because of the difficult things in life that make us mentally strong that really helps drive purpose, right? And I think I just keep seeing more and more that, like, we're scared of hard things and we're scared of challenges. And it's almost like the challenges and the hardships are bad. And I think everyone in life has challenges. And I think in life, all we are, like, I think aging is enduring stress, right? Like, we're enduring stress every day, and learning how to offset that stress, but then also learning how to use that stress as your superpower to make you strong. I think that is my biggest medicine.
Wow. Thank you. I mean, that is truly a testament of resilience. And I can only imagine, you being able to build what you've built in such record time, and building it. You've gone through that, and look forward to seeing what comes out at the end of this year of change, my friend. Thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, and for being on the Thrive State podcast, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Thrive State podcast. And if you're finding that this content is really helping you and your family members, please consider supporting our mission and our cause of elevating health, happiness, and human potential for people all over the world. You can do so by making sure that you subscribe to this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family members, and leaving us a 5-star review wherever podcasts are heard. All these things are going to really help elevate the show and to give us the resources to continue to bring more content just like this to yourself, as well as the people that you love. If you haven't already, you might want to consider joining our community. We actually have a community where people get to engage with me in group sessions, where we do breathwork, meditation, where we do challenges together, really to be able to get us access to health, happiness, human potential, so that we could have longevity and performance in our life as well. You can check out our community at mythrivestate.com. That's mythrivestate.com. And if you haven't already, pick up a copy of my book, Thrive State. It really gives you all the tools, the pillars that you need to create a blueprint to control the energetics of your life. Who are you? How you show up in the world? The choices that you consistently make create an energy in your body, and you can control this. And when you can control that, you also control the messages you give to your DNA that gives you access, again, to optimal health, longevity, and peak performance. And let me also just share a free gift to you. If you haven't already, please pick up my longevity and performance bundle, where I share lecture notes, ebooks, breathwork exercises, and longevity and performance resources at thrivestatestarter.com. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you for helping us grow. Remember always, my friends, that you are your best medicine.